All right, what's going on, you guys? This is Mike or Geekermon. Welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about thumbnails. So we all know good thumbnails can absolutely elevate your channel. They can take you from flatline, same amount of views on every video, to absolute viral potential. But how hard is it to consistently create good thumbnails? So today, we're going to hop in. We're going to jump into Photoshop. I'm going to show you guys how I make thumbnails for my channels. We're going to talk a little bit about what makes thumbnails successful. I'm going to show you a few examples of channels that do it well. And hopefully, you guys will have a few takeaways that you can implement in your own content creation journey. All right, so let's get into it. What makes a good thumbnail? Well, a thumbnail, order of operations when viewers land on YouTube, is they look at a thumbnail, something catches their eye, and then they read the title. It's always thumbnail first, title second. Knowing that, your goal is to create something that will catch a user's eye. The follow-up is that the title and thumbnail combination entices your viewer to come to your channel. They learn enough from those two elements to want to watch whatever you've posted. So what makes a good thumbnail? Well, there's an exercise I do that you guys can do to kind of research and figure out what's working right now, and that's by testing it on yourself. So if we come here to youtube.com, we land on the home feed, you can do a bit of research just by identifying what are the thumbnails that stand out to you. So if I come here on YouTube, I've refreshed the page, this is my feed, this is my algorithm. The best thing that you can do is take just a moment and identify the top 2 or 3 thumbnails that stood out to you. So for me, it's gotta be this Pebble Beach thumbnail in the middle, as well as this Tokyo Funk cat in the top right corner. Those two were the first things that my eyes wandered to. Now, like I said, you go thumbnail and then you go title. So for the Pebble Beach video, I see Pebble Beach, I see the golf course, my eyes go down, the #1 golf course in the world. Now, that seems like an interesting video. I know what Pebble Beach is. I've never played it. I'll probably want to watch this video just to get an idea. So to me, this feels like an up-close experience with Pebble Beach. It'll probably show a lot of B-roll, a lot of cinematic footage. I've watched a few golf tournaments there, but I've never played there. So the knowledge gap and what entices me is watching this video is about right now the closest thing I'll get to playing Pebble Beach. That draws me in to want to click. The other Tokyo Funk, the bright color pop is just what stands out there. Immediately though, I look at it, it's 3 hours long, Tokyo Funk lo-fi playlist. I like to play that in the background when I'm editing. You'll notice a number of these are long music compilations. But again, I'm informed. I saw the video, I think Tokyo Funk, interesting. If I were sitting here editing and not filming, I might click on that and just play some music in the background. So doing this exercise a couple different times is a good way to get a feel for what makes a successful channel. So another thing you can do, same page, is identify what were the worst thumbnails on the page. What were the ones that you were least likely to notice or to click? And as you read through the list again, you'll probably see videos you didn't even know were there. A few of those for me are the Lord of the Rings Symphony. Looks very cool. I bet it's an incredible video. But for me, my eyes, now that I'm reading through it again, I didn't catch that video the first time. Another, and one I kind of want to dive into a little bit more, is the Optimum video on the top left, the RTX 5090 experience. Now, I've never seen this Optimum channel before. I will say this video is very successful. It's got 700,000 views 4 days ago. Hovering over it, it looks extremely high quality. And so this is not a slight at him, but it is worth identifying for yourself, why did my eyes not go to this video? Very simple, very clean. I just didn't notice that he was holding a graphics card. In my opinion, this video is a little bit dark on the thumbnail. You say, okay, well, every video can't be bright green like the golf course. And that is true. You don't want every thumbnail to be over the top green. You know channels that are like that, and it can be extremely annoying. But if we hop over to Optimum's channel here, to compliment him, he's done a great job with these thumbnails. Very consistent. You've got to feel that it's his channel as soon as you see one of these. He's very consistent with the thumbnails. It's usually whatever technology he's probably reviewing. Lots of blacks and whites, contrasting colors. He uses the same text across the board, unhinged, in-game, again. So overall, he's making great thumbnails, but it's worth noting for yourself, why did I not see that RTX video? Clearly, 700 other thousand people have clicked on it. So sometimes it could just be you. But if we sort his videos by popular, yeah, it's exactly what I thought it would be. So his most popular video is bright green. Razer's new keyboard is basically cheating. 5 million views 6 months ago. That does not shock me at all. And you'll notice a couple of his top ones are light blue background, light blue, white, extremely high contrast, more green down here. And so these are the kind of things that you can log away as you're creating your thumbnails. Now, if every one of his thumbnails was this green color, that would probably be too much, right? So you've got to balance the flash of getting in front of your audience with keeping a professional brand. And I will say, he does a great job. Optimum's brand is extremely professional. This is a channel that I will most likely end up subscribing to. But there's a ton you can learn just from researching channels. When you're building thumbnails, it's partially about the thumbnail for that specific video. video, but then it's also about the thumbnail and branding for your channel. So what you want is when your videos come up on the home feed for your audience to go, oh, there's a new video from you. But again, let's click across a couple thumbnails here. Here's a Destiny YouTuber, Aztecross. When you click on his videos and you look through, it is very cohesive. It's tied to his brand. And you know, on the home feed, you would know this exotic tuning video right here. I know immediately that's an Aztecross video. Haven't read the text, didn't see his logo. In my mind, I just associate this style of thumbnail with his content. Let's go to another one. Timmy. Timmy has a classic 1/3 thumbnail. We're gonna hop into Photoshop in just a second and I'll show you what I mean. But essentially a 1/3 thumbnail is you split the thumbnail into thirds. Oftentimes you cover the left third or right third with your face, and the other 2/3 with the gameplay or whatever's going on in the background. His formula is very simple. It's him making a face on one side, and it's whatever he's playing going on the other side. Now, there's of course more than that. There's text, there's a few other layers, but it's not much more than that. And so I'm gonna show you because I have a very similar style. All right, so hopping over to my channel, we're gonna do a bit of self-evaluation. What I'd like you guys to do though is leave me a comment down below if you'd like me to evaluate your channel in a future video. I'd love to just hop in, take a look at you guys' channels, and not roast them, but hopefully give you guys some pointers and some tips to help you elevate it to the next level. So if you're interested in that and you want to be featured in a video, just leave me a comment down below. All right, so taking a look at my own channel, we do the 1/3 very similar to Timmy. I'm big on my personality, my face, what game I'm playing, so I like to do 1/3 my face, 2/3 the gameplay. Creates that consistent branding that we were talking about. Now, if I were to go to my oldest videos here, you'll see that they looked much different back in the day. Starting out with Destiny, I had a lot going on, but I also had 273 views. So there was a lot going on, but I wasn't getting very many viewers. I will say the one pro is, you know, looking at this, that it's Destiny 2. And my first video that did well was how to get the legendary sword. It had enough potential. People wanted to click on it. And if we look at my most popular videos, it's always the clickbait ones. Always. I went through a little series where I titled the videos Top 1% Player because I had reached the ELO in Destiny Tracker. And man, oh man, did that pay out well. Look at this. When a top 1% player, when a top 1% player, when a top 1% player. I used it 4 times because it just was so effective. But that's the key to success on YouTube, right? Is find what works and then do more of that. YouTube told me, they said, hey, we sent 170,000 people this video for you. And I said, okay, well, great, let's do another one. And they said, we're gonna give that one to 985,000. But again, I can't title every video this. And so you gotta just learn what works and then continue iterating on that. If you scroll through my videos over time, you'll notice I go through different seasons where I try different styles, I see what works, and then I continue to iterate on it. Man, this is a series of solid thumbnails right here. Look at that. I started to use these little tags in the top corner, and man, they did well. Shout out Haley on the right. All right, so I think we've done enough research. If you guys would like to do, one other thing I want to tell you guys about is our Discord channel for Patreon members. There is a channel dedicated to YouTube thumbnail feedback. And so for those of you guys that have joined My Creator Insights, there's a dedicated channel here for YouTube thumbnail feedback where you can post your thumbnails and then get feedback from me and others in our community to be able to improve that thumbnail. Here is a great example. Benchwarmers Will said, is this too busy? Should I use a different background? Change it up to make it a little more simple. Feel free, if you join the community, to hop in there, post your thumbnails. You could do it every day before you post, but it's just a good way to get some eyes on it, get you guys some feedback before you go live. The other tool I'm currently working on, and by currently, I mean right now, like I'm slinging the code for it. For My Creator Insights, I want to build a thumbnail tester tool where you can upload a thumbnail and it'll place it within a home feed like this to give you guys an idea of whether or not your thumbnail stands out. Because sometimes a thumbnail feels good and then you post it and you see it along other good thumbnails and you realize this is not a good thumbnail. So that's something I'm working on, and hopefully I'll be able to commit soon for you guys. All right, so jumping over into Photoshop. Today, this is the action part of the video. We're gonna actually make a thumbnail. Now, I just have this file open. This is from one of my recent Call of Duty videos. But as you guys can tell, left third of the screen has got my face, and then the right 2/3 has got some weapon overlaid, what game it is, with a little flair here and there. I think I have a full guide on thumbnail making, but it was like a year ago, so I'm just gonna post this one again. The key thing is we talked about the branding. Save your assets. Don't start from scratch every time, right? That wouldn't make sense. You want to save the aesthetic, the colors, the font that you were using, all of that. What I normally like to do though is just clear it out. All right, here we are. Very basic thumbnail. All right, so one thing I'll show you what size, canvas size here. I do 1920 by 1080 for my thumbnails. And then when you go to export your thumbnail, file, export, you just want to make sure that the size of your thumbnail, because I have to have a background to be able to export it. So you want to make sure that the size of your thumbnail is underneath 2 megs. And so when you load this up, right here in the middle, it says 1.7 megs. That means I'm good. If you're over that, for example, if I bump this up to 100%, 3.1, all you need to do is change the scale here, get this down. I usually am at like 70 something percent. It just needs to be small enough, depending on your amount of layers, to be under 2 megs, and that way YouTube will accept. All right, so that's the exporting, that's the size. I always like to start with the background. So say we're making a Call of Duty video, right? My template would normally look something like this. I like to put whatever game I'm playing up in the top corner. You don't have to do it. Sometimes just the colors and the gun you're using can show what game it is. But for me, I don't know. It's a nice touch to where when someone looks at the thumbnail, they go, oh, Black Ops 6. I recognize that. I'm playing that, or I like to watch that. All right, so I'm going to go fresh. I'm going to pull a Call of Duty map. We're going to do this one. Nuketown, baby. So copy the image over, come to Photoshop, drop our Nuketown image in there, resize it a little bit. I need to put my keystrokes on the screen for you guys. That probably would be super. All right, look, we already got a good thumbnail. That's a good base. It really is as simple as this. Once you start doing this on a regular basis, you realize thumbnail is more about the process and getting it down than anything else. All right, so next we're going to drop in. Here is a screenshot of my face. At the end of my videos, I like to just go, or whatever face I want to make. Screenshot that, pull it from Premiere, pull it from wherever, and drop that sucker onto your Photoshop. All right, so we got it on. How do we get my face out of my background? They have made it extremely easy. The object selection tool. Look at this. Are you kidding me? Boom. Object select. Boom. The object has been selected. And you're like, Geek, wait a minute. The microphone's not oh, boom. The microphone is selected. Even wearing a black hoodie, it's extremely easy for Photoshop now to recognize this is me, and they'll highlight it. So what I do is hold Shift, I highlight everything that feels right, and then you want to right click and do the quick selection tool. That was a little mouthful right there. And then you can polish it up a little bit. So you're like, okay, I probably want to get rid of this little cord hanging off the microphone. Hold Alt, that will swap your brush to reverse. And then I just unselect, like I just want the mic. I don't need the whole cord that's going on there. And then down here, I'll go ahead and select the rest of this just so it's all, one cohesive piece. Oh man, I got the light, Alt, unselect. I don't need the light, and work our way across. And so you'll realize, like a lot of times in my thumbnails right here, it doesn't matter where that ends. I just ended it on the back of the microphone stand there. So this, I'll bring this out a little bit, but like I'm knowing that it's not really going to make it into the thumbnail anyways. I'll probably just carve it off later. All right, how does it feel around the ear? I'll unselect right there. Feel good about this. This little area I can unselect, but I'm going to do that in just a minute. Okay, so now we've got everything highlighted, right? So Command J is going to move that to a new layer, or Control J, I guess, on Windows. And you'll notice there's a few things to clean up, but overall, like we're looking pretty good right here. All right, cleanup crew. Let's do it. I'm walking you guys through how to do all of this. All right, so let's go down here. We'll hit the eraser tool. Way too big. Bring it down. Bring the hardness all the way up. I don't want to go too fast. Size down for the brush all the way to like, I don't know, 10 pixels. Hardness all the way so there's no fade. I want to fully get rid of whatever I have selected. Look at, I got that tiny circle. All right, let's go in, let's erase, clean up this line right here. Like that's a pretty simple fix. The thing didn't quite catch it somehow. And then the other is this piece up here, right? The brush is probably going to be hard to get that, but here is a tip. What you can do is use this lasso tool, and you can actually just draw it out. So you can click your way around. It's really simple, and it lets you do more complex shapes with precision, right? So you kind of draw your way around. You go to here, and then there you go. And then you just hit delete, and now you're good. Bada bing. And if I was doing this for my thumbnail, I probably would do up there as well. I'm not going to worry about it right this second. But overall, we're out here. Like this was a speed run. You probably want to be a little more accurate than I am right here. But all right, so bada bing, bada boom. We've got our face, and now we just use the move tool, and we want to get ourselves over to the left third of the screen. I mean, bam. Look at that. We're close to a good thumbnail already. Like this. I could post just this, and it's called I Love Nuketown. All right, so what's next? What do we want to do? Well, it depends. What's your video on? Well, my video is going to be on a sniper. Okay, cool. All right, so let's bring in, this is a screenshot from my YouTube video of me using the sniper. I brought it in. I think let's see, the original, it was tilted a little bit, but this is literally just, you can tell, this is just a screenshot of my game. If you don't have one, you can go online, you can find different screenshots, but I would recommend use a thumbnail from your video if you're doing gaming videos in particular. If you're doing non-gaming videos, I'll probably do a separate video on that because it is a little bit different. You want to be pulling assets more like, we go over, I did a excerpt on his channel recently, but Lost LeBlanc, right? Some of the stuff is from his videos, and then some, you can tell he pulls things in. Like Barcelona, I don't know if that tower is right behind him or if he pulled the tower in. All right, right now we're a little more gaming focused. So like I said, we've got our thumbnail. I dropped it in. I just made it super large so you could see the gun. We do the same exercise as we did before. I'll skip it for the sake of time, but we're gonna pop out and we're gonna get just the gun. That's what I care about. I did the exact same thing. I used the quick select tool. I kind of modified it, drew some sharp lines around the corners, and this is what we have. We're almost there, right? We're almost there. All right, so what do I want to change? Well, first of all, I don't like the colors of the Nuketown background. I think that the Nuketown background, you can hold Alt and select the eyeball of your layer just to see that one layer. I like this, but it feels a little too gray for a thumbnail, right? So let's get a little extreme here. Let's do some blue sky. Might be a bit overkill, but let's try it out. All right, so I'm just gonna select a blue sky, bring it back over to Photoshop and paste it in there. Man, now that, that pops, holy cow. It's too much, but it pops. All right, that is a lot of brightness right there. All right, so another thing you can do if you don't want to use the blue sky, well, let's just make this image better, right? So if we come up to filter, camera raw filter. All right, so if we take the saturation of this and we bring it way up, that does bring the color up. That's nice. I probably want to go clarity and make it a little sharper. Not too sharp, that's a bit aggressive. Bring the exposure up, we want the background brighter, and I like that. I actually like to use my own screenshot, the original screenshot a lot of times, and so this is that right here. I will still do, if you look at the filters, I'll still do a camera raw filter, and so this is actually where mine ended up. I ended up blurring it a little bit. I ended up bringing all the colors up, making it more gray and blue to kind of make the gun on the front layer pop. So if I turn my smart filter back on, that's the difference between what it was and what it was when I was done. You may like one of these better than the other. You could do all this work and be like, actually, this moody darkness right here, this looks sick. The one thing I didn't show you is that motion blur. So if you go filter, blur, you got the motion blur here. And so what that'll do, so that'll create kind of a side to side, like you're sprinting, like you're running, a bit of panic on the blur. But mess around with it. The camera raw filter really does give you a lot. The things I use the most frequently are up in the saturation to make it brighter. This is what it was prior, and then boom. Especially if I'm gonna blur it, you can really crank the colors on it to make it pop. For this one in particular, I made it a little cooler. So if I were to go warm with it, opposite feel, right? Ooh, actually, is this map on fire? What's happening? Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, last thing I want to show you for the sake of time. I don't want this video to be too long. We'll do more of a deep dive if you have other questions on it, but hop in, mess around with Photoshop and kind of get this workflow going for you. Last thing I want to show you guys is text, right? So if I put the word insane, bring it down. How do we make, well, I spelled it wrong. How do we make text look good on a thumbnail? Well, for one, it's all about the fonts. First of all, we got to do a different color, but it's also all about the fonts. All right, so here's what I like to do, okay? Right click on your text layer and go blending up. Now we're gonna go color overlay, make it white. A lot of times I just like a simple white with a stroke, make the stroke black. Already we're looking clean. Make it a little bit smaller. All right, and then I'll also add a drop shadow behind it, a drop shadow. So I have stroke, color overlay, and drop shadow selected. The drop shadow is super nice. If I get rid of the stroke, you can see it a little bit better. The drop shadow is nice because it just allows you don't even need the stroke sometimes. You can just do the drop shadow. Put the spread about in the middle, maybe a little left. Put the distance as 0, and then do the size depending on your style. Some like the sharp clean, some like more of this fade. I am gonna go right in the middle. All right, so that's what we got right there. Now let's go ahead and, oh, Photoshop crashed. Good, good, that will happen. We're doing it live. Love it. All right, we're back. Okay, so fonts that I like to use for the thumbnail. One, Impact is a solid font. It's just easy to read. You know right away what's going on. So if I were to type, you know, new sniper, something like that, I mean, this already, like, that looks clean. I would post this. I would post this. Especially if I can get back to the warm right here. Hindsight, I didn't even realize that looked that good. Pull it over on the right. Bada bing, bada boom. New snipe. All right, couple of other fonts. This is just more of an extra tips. If you've made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe. You're on the journey with us. My goal is between this channel and my Creator Insights website that you guys are fully equipped on your content creation journey. So if you want to come along, join the community, check out the Patreon down below. Okay, a couple other fonts that I love. Inter, I-N-T-E-R. I like the Inter. I love the Inter extra bold. I think it looks sick. It just has kind of a modern YouTube feel to it. It doesn't scream old school YouTube. It's really on the modern side. So that's a good one. Futura is a good one. Babus New is a good one. look. Traditional Arial is good. And then there's one underrated one. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's called Rajdhani. And Rajdhani Bold is actually, I love it. Like, look at this. That is so good. So I make it a little bigger so you can kind of see. So if I were to copy that Optimum's channel and make it small and put it like right there, boom, new sniper. I got his same feel going right here. All right, so I think that's enough for today. That was a lot of info crammed into like 30 minutes here. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. Like I said, working on the thumbnail tester tool for you guys, but for now, just hop into Photoshop, mess with the layers. When you're working on the filter camera raw, I do it for my face as well. I like to sharpen it up a little bit with this detail, you know, drag the sharpening over. That's too much, but it tells you what it does. And then I always like to up the exposure just a tiny bit, maybe bring the temperature down, but bring the saturation up. You'll get a feel for what looks good, but I would encourage you, jump in, mess with it. Photoshop is an extremely user-friendly tool. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. But hopefully this is a step for you guys on your way to creating viral potential thumbnails. If you found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like. Like I said, check out the community. We've got the Discord, the YouTube thumbnail feedback, the My Creator Insights website, where you guys have a whole bunch of different tools that you can use to maximize your content creation journey. You can research analytics, see what channels are doing well, what they're not. Research your own channel. I want to give you guys the tools to be able to become the next viral sensation. So thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.